This one on CBS Saturday night, 8:15 Eastern Time. The Titans, fresh off knocking off Tom Brady, now go up against the likely league MVP in Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, another team that should be feeling confident based on what they did. But this is a whole entire different animal. When you talk about this Baltimore Ravens team, as good of defense as they play, I think the way they match up their secondary on the outside and the pressure that Don Martindale brings, Ryan Tannehill better have a better game than what he had in Foxborough, because that's not going to be enough. I don't care how many times they give the football to Derrick Henry, because they're going to have to score some points too. One trend we notice with teams that play Baltimore, they get off to a fast start and they eat up a ton of time. So usually they're getting a touchdown, if not two, somewhere in the first quarter. And then you've got their opponent playing from behind versus a very tough defense. So this all comes down to how this game starts. If Tennessee can stymie the offensive attack of the Baltimore Ravens and hang around, I think this game could be close and maybe Tennessee covers, but I don't see it happening that way. I think Baltimore and Lamar Jackson get off to a fast start. It takes about a quarter for Tennessee to adjust and settle in, but by that point, it's already too late, Pete.
Lamar Jackson was awful in the playoffs last year. There's no question about that. So he's got a redemption here. He's had a great season, but this is the postseason. You get amped up a little bit. I can't wait to see what Dean Pease, the defensive coordinator of the Tennessee Titans, throws at Lamar Jackson. Dean Pease was the defensive coordinator of the Baltimore Ravens back in the day. Why are you shaking your head already, Brady?
This guy you're looking at is a different athlete than what Colin Kaepernick was.
And he played against Colin Kaepernick in the Super Bowl. Now, Kaepernick got some yards in that game, but they came up with some kind of plan where they had, I told you this, they had Terrell Suggs cocked on the line of scrimmage, and he banged on the tight ends. I imagine he'll come up with something here. He's great at disguising coverage. You know that well. He's fantastic at showing one thing and backing out of it and doing something else. I can't wait to see the plan. I'm not saying he's going to shut him down like the Chargers did last year, but I can't wait to see what he throws at him.
He can try to disguise all he wants. I would say one of the biggest differences we've seen now within the NFL that came from college football in the past 4 years or so has been the RPO, the run-pass option. That is something that Greg Roman and the Baltimore Ravens will do along with the quarterback design run. So he can disguise, try to do whatever he wants. But at the end of the day, he's got to figure out a way of tackling Lamar Jackson. And that's been something that's been much more difficult. And teams have found that out once they've gotten into the game than it was, say, Colin Kaepernick, who, again, as you pointed out, he had production that game. But not to the likes of, I think, how Lamar Jackson is.
Well, he threw for 300, but a lot of it came late in the game. But he did throw for 300.
They had to come back in that game.
Yeah, he did throw for 300.
We were sitting here exactly 1 week ago. We were picking wild card round games. We were talking Titans, Patriots, and one of the things, Pete, that you said is the Patriots, they're going to take out Derrick Henry.
They did.
They did.
Were not able to do that. Derrick Henry,
major fail.
Almost 74% of the scrimmage yards for Tennessee in that game. And Earl Thomas was quoted as saying, guys didn't seem they were too interested in tackling him being Derrick Henry. I think our mindset is a little different. We're going to try to tackle him, try to swarm, and we're going to see how it plays out. Derrick Henry averaging over 6 yards per carry in his last 8 games.
They better swarm because he's that big of a ball carrier. It takes more than just one man to bring him down unless you can take his legs down. And once he builds a head of steam and gets it to the second level, that's where he becomes dangerous. Here's going to be the key, though. It's going to be the Tennessee Titans, tight ends, and wide receivers blocking. You can make that same case for Baltimore as well, and both teams do a good job of it. That's why I think you saw the secondary for New England having a hard time tackling him. It was the blocking downfield. Something that, again, Tennessee does well and Baltimore does well, and I think will largely dictate the impact of all the running backs for each team as far as the additional yards after contact or yards after they get past the line of scrimmage.
One key word for the Ravens on defense, bounce. Make him bounce it. When he bounces, he's a different runner. He's not nearly as good as when he pops right through the hole, and you mentioned it, makes those guys take a physical beating in the secondary. So make him bounce it. I don't think he's nearly as good a runner. And the Ravens are pretty good in the run game. Those guys are big physical guys in the middle. And Pierce, they're big guys in there. They're hard to move. But the Titans' offensive line was fantastic last week at getting great push, and that's the key because he gets going, you open up holes for him.
They're going to be able to try to attack the edges, and I think that's the challenge for Don Martindale. And when I say edges, I mean the tight end and tackle spots. Like if you're looking at the running game for the Tennessee Titans, that's most likely where they're going to try to attack and see if they can get him to the edge and to the outside. And if you're Baltimore and Don Martindale, their DC, he's going to say, I'm going to try to put a defender out there where, as you're saying, he holds him up and keeps trying to push him to bounce, where all of a sudden the sideline becomes that 12th defender. And that's going to be the key, I think, to limiting some of Derrick Henry's production. The problem is this is like a heavyweight boxing match. You look at what Mike Vrabel did last week, 30-some touches, 34, 35 touches for Derrick Henry. They're going to keep feeding him the football, and they're going to say in the third, fourth quarter, How do you like dealing with trying to hit him? I don't care if it's at the line of scrimmage or 5 yards downfield. Can you get up time and time again as a defense and keep tackling this guy? Because they're betting that you can't.
And going to need more from Ryan Tannehill in this game. He was just 8 for 15, 72 yards in that win against the Patriots. The picks, -9.5 for Baltimore. Does Tennessee stay inside that number, Pete?
I think they do. I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think. I'm going to take the number. Hey, Baltimore went to Tennessee years ago as a 6 seed, beat them as a 1 seed in a physical, nasty. I was there.
That was their last meeting 10 years ago.
They beat the daylights out of each other in that game. I think they're going to beat the daylights out of each other in this game. That means it's going to be a little lower scoring, and there's going to be not as many points. So I'll take the Titans and the points.
I think it's just too tough of a challenge for Tennessee. Because they beat the daylights out of New England. It was a physical game in the wild card round. It's going to be another one like that this week, and again on the road. To me, the 9.5 points seems like it's a lot, but I think Baltimore's going to cover it.
Baltimore bringing a 12-game winning streak into the matchup. They lead the NFL in points per game and points allowed per game over that 12-game winning streak. Again, that's on CBS Saturday night.